Hi guys, it's Charlie with another episode of Alder Updates. Today I want to talk about police liaison officers, or sometimes called school resource officers. What these are police who are placed in our schools, usually the high schools, in order to keep the peace. You're probably aware that there's a petition right now to remove the SRO or the PLO from Verona Area High School. You might also be aware that the Madison Area School District, or Madison Municipal School District rather, just voted to remove their SROs from their schools. So before people make the knee-jerk reaction, I'd like people to think and put yourself in other people's shoes a little bit, and also try to get a grasp on some facts before you opine. So a couple of things it's important to know. Obviously, we have a brand new high school. It's a very large high school next year. We have there's going to be 6 security officers at the new school. These are not police officers. These are employed by the school to help keep the peace. And so some questions that I am asking myself, some questions that I would like you to ask yourself are, what are going to be the differences in duties between the 6 security officers and the police officer? That's a question. What are the different duties? Does the SRO need to be there at all? Maybe, maybe not. If they are there, do they need to have a uniform? Do they need to be armed? I think as a child, and albeit a high school child, they're still children, police can be quite intimidating. They can be intimidating for adults. They're certainly intimidating for me when I get pulled over for speeding. So something to think about. I would want to know, thinking about active shooter scenarios. Obviously, that's something that we have to deal with here in America. That's a broader question. But let's say there was an active shooter at our school, and there's a singular SRO there by themselves. Would they engage, or would they wait for backup? What is the policy? If the policy is that they would wait for backup, then from that perspective, I would question the value of them being there for that reason, if they're waiting for others to get there in the first place. So another question I think we should ask ourselves is, do they really establish relationships with the kids or not? And is that important? I've heard feedback that that's allegedly one of the roles that they are meant to play at the school, but does that happen, and is that a good relationship or bad relationship, right? And also whether or not there needs to be any relationship. So I've gone 43 years now without any relationship with a police officer, and that's okay by me, and I'd frankly just as soon keep it that way. Nothing against police officers, but and that's me being tongue-in-cheek, but oftentimes when you're in the company of a police officer, that's probably not for a great reason necessarily. But thinking about our kids, all of our kids, so our kids who are white, our kids who are of color, do they need a relationship with the police, yes or no? And do they need a place free of police? So again, thinking about our students of color, do they have anywhere in their lives where they can go and just be free of contact with the police at all? Is it necessary? And is school just one more place where they have to have interactions where maybe there shouldn't be interactions? I don't know. I'm asking the question. I think we should ask, what do the kids think? So a lot of people chatting online, on Nextdoor, I'm sure on the comment section for this. But the students are the ones there every day, right? Not us. And so, or not me anyway. And so what do they think? What do the teachers think? What do the staff think? Their opinions, I think, matter just as much, right? So, lots to contemplate. So one other, I guess my last thing I would wonder is, are we creating a school to prison pipeline potentially? Do we need, are the issues that are being dealt with there, are they issues that have to be handled by a police officer who can create a police record for someone, or are they issues like scuffles, fights, arguments that can be dealt with by security officers? Question. I think people are aware that the arrest rate, and I'm going to, if I get this wrong, please don't blow up my comment section, but pretty sure the arrest rate here in Verona for people of color is something like 12 times that of whites, and almost all of those are at the high school. And so why is that? Given the rate, it's far disproportionate to the actual number of kids of color at the school, right? So things to think about. I do appreciate the comments and the feedback. Right now, this is an issue between the school board and the police department, and I believe they're negotiating a contract for next year. So, not necessarily an issue that's present before the Common Council right now. However, I think your input, public input, is extremely important in this regard. So, please leave comments and let me know what you think. Thanks.